Hello, fellow traders. 'Tis I, TheRumpledOne, coming to you on Tuesday, May the 18th. The year's 2021. Let's talk trading. Place your bets, part 2 with Walmal. As always, these videos are for educational purposes only. Your results may differ from mine and from Walmal's. And picking up from yesterday, we were talking about, or I was talking about, thinking trading using some gambling terms. And one of the things I didn't mention yesterday, I kind of saved it for today, was if you think about when you walk into a casino, every game has rules. And you don't get to change those rules in the middle of the game. The casino plays by them and all the players play by them. And so if you put that with trading, once you set your rules, those are your rules. You don't get to violate them or change them in the middle of a trade. So Walmart, how do you feel about placing your bets?
Yeah, I think that it could be something that can actually help you, in the long run. We got to all remember that, if you talk about, going and gambling, going to the casino, going to, something like OTB, off-track betting, where you can go and bet on the ponies, as they say. The reality is there's all sort of rules that are out there, and of course those rules are put in place for what reason? They're put in place to make sure that the house wins consistently. The reality is we're dealing with brokers, and brokers have all types of rules out there. And why do they have those rules? Well, they have those rules because they're in business also to go and make money. And that's the whole thing, is to make money. Well, here we are, as traders. We can go and also have rules. Now, we can't go in any way go and circumvent the rules that the brokers put in place, but we can certainly put rules in place that will go and maybe take advantage of some of the things that they put in place, or maybe take advantage of what's happening in the market. If we know that we have a system that we go back and look at it statistically, and over time it wins 60% of the time, okay, as long as the following conditions are met, X, Y, and Z. Well, what do we need to do? We need to go and make sure that X, Y, and Z are all executed, not once in a while, but every single time. And that's, to me, I think that's where this whole idea of placing your bets matter. And making sure. We were talking earlier today where you said that one of the differences that you and I have is that if I get a valid, legitimate signal, I take the trade every time, okay? If I got a valid, legitimate signal, and that's the most important thing, valid, legitimate signal. I'm not just going to willy-nilly take trades everywhere, but I'm going to make sure I take every one of those trades, because I know in the long run, if I'm getting those valid, legitimate signals, if I take them, overall, I'm going to win. And that's just how I have to play it. Now, doing that, I was, last week I had a run that was unbelievable. I think I went 2.5 days, and I don't even remember how many trades it was, but it was a ridiculous number of trades I took without a single loss. Well, that also tells me that because of my win rate and what it is, I also know that at some point in time, I'm going to take some losses. That's just the legitimate, that's just the reality of what's going to happen. So I'll go and take those losses. And in fact, I did take some losses, and I took, 6, 7 losses in a row. That's going to happen. But here's the whole thing. Where it all comes down to is that thing called the trade management or your trading plan. You gotta have it in place, because that way when you take those 7, 8 losses in a row, it just doesn't matter. It doesn't wipe you out. It doesn't prevent you from trading. You've got it built into your plan. And that's the whole idea of just placing your bets. Place your bet and see where it goes.
Yeah.
Don't have fear about placing your bets.
Yeah, so, if you look at the Walmart trade this hour, on my chart, it opened at, 9.8. So, and it had a high of 10.4. So if you were taking that long, you would have probably gotten stopped out. But then the short at the double O, he'd be up 10 pips right now, just about.
Exactly right. On my chart, we had we would have opened basically in the same spot. Actually, on my chart, my hour actually opened up at good grief, at 10.5. Okay, but the thing is, so on my chart, you could have been up 20 pips. Now, it could have just as easily opened up below that 10 line. And if you would have taken a long when it went up above and cracked that 10, yeah, you would have taken a loss. But how do you deal with that? Okay, well, my trading plan says that, my absolute max that I go and get out on is 10 pips. So that's just the reality. You just get out at 10 pips. And you just know that that's just part of your trading plan. But the also reality of this all is, and I know traders have seen some of the charts I put out there on the Facebook page where, why'd you get out there? Why'd you get out so short? You say that your stop loss is at 10 pips. Yeah, it is. Now, this is going contrary to what we're talking about here of just placing your bets and walking away. I don't like to do that because what I do is I'll go in and I'll manage my trades as I'm in the trade, and I'll say, I took a bet, and I took a bet to go long at 10. It's not working out. You know what? I'm gone. Why make it worse than it already is? That's just how I go and do it. So I just sweep the table. That's an advantage that we as Forex traders have that somebody going to the casino doesn't have that advantage. But at the same time, there's an advantage of doing it the casino way of, you place your bet and walk away, because it's the type of thing where you place your bet, you walk away, and you don't have to look at the charts. You don't have to do anything. So that gives you the ability to go and play it that way. And so those traders are out there that don't have the time because they're still working at a job and they can't be watching charts 24/7 or whatever. That gives them the ability to still get into the game. That's a major advantage to that. Second major advantage is I place the bet and I win some and I lose some, and you don't have a lot of that psychology that comes in and messes with your head. The disadvantage of it is that you can't minimize your losses, and so because of that, the brokers, they give me the ability to get out of trades early. If I got that, and if I have the time to sit in the chart, and I've got the ability to get out of trades early, heck yeah, I'm going to go and take that opportunity, and that's what I do.
Right, and one of the other things is that in placing our bets and knowing the system, I just brought up the hour day range of curves. So right now on my charts, we're on the 18th hour, and out of the last 42 hour 18s, 41 of them were 13 pips or more. And so we have a minimum of 11.2, a maximum of 81.3, with the average of 27.3. So trading this hour over statistically, there's money to be made. And that's what we're looking at. So, the next hour, it's down to the 80s, and I think that's when you call it quits, because that'll be lunchtime in New York. So it's like for the rest of the day, you don't have the statistics in your favor. There's why would you take trades then? It's like close up shop. If you haven't made your money in from hour 10 or hour 9, you have about a 10-hour window. If you haven't made your money that time, it's just just wrap it up for the day, I would say.
Yeah, and I look at it, and there's days of when I've had that happen to me, and it's sort of like, you know what? I'm having a bad day. Why not just call it, go to lunch with the boys in New York, and just call it, and that's fine. And because you don't want to take a bad day and turn it into a bad week or a bad month or a bad career.
Yeah.
There's no reason to do that. Especially, why are you going to go and why are you going to go and try to trade against what the market's doing? If it's the type of thing where there are days that the Walmal method, it's like taking candy from a baby. It's so easy, and there are other days when it's more difficult. Well, if you're having one of those days where it's more difficult, close shop. Wait till tomorrow. Hopefully tomorrow will be one of those days where you take candy from baby. I mean, there's been days on Walmart trades where I've made, not just a day's worth, but sometimes a week or more's worth, because of just being able to go and take, 2 or 3 or 4 10-pip moves in a period of, 3 or 4 hours. You can go and make those up. Why go? Why swim against the current, so to speak?
Exactly. Yeah. Oh, and I just put up the Wick Zone trade because there was a trader out on YouTube was asking about the TP and the stop loss. It's, if you're entering short out of the zone, well, then your exit or your stop loss would be at the other side of the zone. But just remember, one of the charts that I used to show every day, and maybe I'm gonna have to start showing it every day again, because some traders just keep asking me these questions about position size or stop loss or TP, and it gets down to your risk management. I can't tell you really where to place your stop loss, or where to place, um, or how many pips, or how many pips, how many lots that you should be trading, or how many pips you should be looking to get. That's up to you. It's up to the statistics. You run the statistics like we just did, then you can figure those things out for yourself, which you have to do. Because I don't know if you're trading a $100 account or a $10,000 account. So I don't know what your risk appetite is. But it's real simple. Once you decide what your risk is, then either you let the chart tell you where to place your stop loss and then calculate your position size. Or if you always want to have, say, a 10-pip stop, then you're going to have the same position size to keep your risk the same. I mean, that's just how simple it is. So if on the wick zones, those sizes change daily, so you just might, let me find the chart again, so you would have to recalculate your position size. So I hope that answers that trader's question. Plus, I think there's a whole series of wick zone videos out there where we've gone through it, showed all the stats, etc., etc.
Yeah, and if you would have taken a wick zone trade to the upside, today could have been worth 72 pips. So it's like, that's a heck of a trade to go and take. And I used to do a lot of wick zone trades, and I usually put a stop loss of 10 or 15 pips, something along those lines. So that would have been a 7-to-1 type of thing, But that's the nice thing about those trades, because a lot of times when they take off, they can take off big time for you, and that's also what I like about that type of a trade. Also, is that it's one of those things where you can do like what we're talking about in this video of placing your bets. It can be very easily a set and forget type of a trade where you know what it is. Come the beginning of the day, you know where everything is at the beginning of the day. You can go and set your entries. You can set where you think your stop loss is going to be based on what your risk appetite is, and wait until the next morning and see. I'm talking about coming from here, living on the East Coast, of the U.S. Wait till the next morning and see what it did. And you can wind up making a lot of money on it. Do you win every day on it? Nope. It's sort of like, in fact, I do a trade very similar to this that I take almost every single night. And yesterday I went and took the trade and I lost on both ends. That happens sometimes. But today I went and won on both ends, so that happens sometimes too. So, excuse me. That's what trading is, and I more than made up for what I lost. So that's the great news about that type of a trade.
Yeah, so we're almost out of time. The fastest 15 minutes in trading is, but one of the trades I used to always like to take were these double O, well now triple O with the 5th digit. But you see here, just trading with the H1 candle color, I mean, over the past, 4 or 5 hours, let's see, it's almost 9 o'clock my time. I think I started, let's see, so this is the 8, 7, 6, 5, 4 o'clock hour. I mean, just taking those trades at the double O would have paid, in the direction of H1, would have paid off each hour. I mean, that's just how simple this is. And it happens, all the time, every day. So, fellow traders, I hope that helps. We'll probably revisit place your bets. Today's only Tuesday. We'll probably talk about it a couple more times. I'm sure Walmal and I will think about something. Oh, we forgot to tell the traders this or that. So just remember, when you're trading, it's not what you trade, it's how you trade it. So go out there and drain the banks. This is the Rumpled One, over and out.